ultimates, big engage counter here. So it is going to be a big, beefy front line. 3 members melee there for Cloud9, diving in to create space for Berserker. And we've seen what Korea and Aphelios can do so far at this tournament.
Yes, we have.
Berserker counts too.
I think the Golden Guardians comp is just harder to execute, right? By running Jace Fiora, you have 2 side laners that you have to ideally get resources into, make sure that they have a healthy laning phase, and then you can actually play the map around them. You don't have the same front-to-back strength that someone like the C9 composition does have. So as we get later into the game, I think the C9's comp is going to be easier to execute, so the burden of responsibility falls on Golden Guardians to show us that early game dominance.
But Licorice has been solo killing all the top laners that he's faced so far. And he's on the Fiora. I love the faith that, you know, Golden Guardians have put in this player, and we'll see if he can do it again.
And specifically Licorice against Cloud9. Remember that Licorice's heights of his career before this recent just streak of greatness with Golden Guardians were on Cloud9. For a while after that, it just felt like he wasn't able to find that same luster for a long time. He's been chasing those shadows ever since, trying to regain that same level. And now here he is. He got a shot at taking the title from Cloud9, fell short with Golden Guardians there. Now they get another chance right here, right now, to potentially knock his old team out of MSI and prove that he is better here and now. What a story that would be for him and for Golden Guardians to be able to do that.
Yep. And on the other side is Cloud9 looking to maintain that international representation for North America, the organization that always finds a way to make it through. And the winner of this best of 5 will go up against Gen G.
Let's rock and roll. We're on to the Rift for game number 1 in the North American showdown between number 1 Cloud9 and number 2 Golden Guardians. Loser goes home. Winner goes on to play Gen G.
Definitely a big task in front of them, but got to focus game by game. I think one of the biggest things that hurt Cloud9 in their first series here at MSI was a lot of lack of coordination, getting a bit over anxious in a lot of the skirmishes as well as the team fights. Meanwhile, Golden Guardians have seemed pretty smooth even when they are losing. They're always looking for those objective setups and ways back into the game.
So speaking of setups, one thing I do want to point out, River is going for the Red Smite first strike build here on the Maokai. Setting up those saplings is going to mean a lot of hurt for whoever face checks into the brushes if Golden Guardians have control and make it to objectives first.
Yeah, the AP build for Maokai definitely was nerfed, but he is solo AP on this team. With so much other AD sources here for Golden Guardians, River knows he's going to have an opportunity here to definitely do a lot of softening up of enemy champions with saplings in the brush with that extra damage.
So far in this early game, looks like nothing too crazy is going to happen. There was an early ward invested into that Tribush from C9. If Golden Guardians had information on that, they could look to try and punish it in the early game, as River looks to be doing a full clear bot side. Could look for an early gank, which perhaps C9 have anticipated already. A bit of trading, though, in the 2v2.
Yep, who he just immediately engaging on Sven there. Worth pointing out here in this bottom lane as well, difference in summoner spells on the AD carries. Berserker with the Ghost, Stixxay with the Cleanse. Very important considering there is some powerful CC on the side of Golden Guardians that would be able to lock Berserker down. He will not have that extra escape mechanism, but once more, it's Sven getting hit with the Dredge line as Cloud9 loses out on some health in these early trades.
That fight for level 2. Mid lane has already secured it, but in the bot lane as well, it will be Golden Guardians that secure it. Hook connects.
Oh, forcing the flash out of the Lulu, who he is dialing these in time and time again, playing the emote game at the same time, having a little fun with it.
Yeah, Golden Guardians bottom lane, once again, getting some early advantages out of the C9 bottom lane here. Sven is the target. Blabber over the back of this Baron wall, though, slipping around to try and contain Licorice.
Be spotted on vision, that hero. Blabber being pinged out gives information to River and the bot lane. This means that Stixxay and Huhi can continue their aggression. The mid lane push that Gory has means that he can collapse first, but Blabber senses that something is amiss and will choose to disengage.
And that sense comes from watching mid lane there. Gory starts hovering up towards top side with his lane push. As a jungler, you see that, him coming towards you, you got to get out of there. Maokai could be in the brush, so good adaptation there from Blabber. Not to follow through, not to get surprised by the Maokai in the brush.
Blabber learning from the mistakes of times long gone, not getting baited into problems in the river, but down here in bottom side, it's Huhi going in. They look for some damage, they find a little on Berserker, but it's not enough. Huhi below 200 HP now. Berserker and Sven looking to keep this chase alive, but the summoner spells have already all been spent. Stixxay still with his flash. The only thing left that he gets away from now. But M&S is coming around from above. He goes in. He looks for them both. First blood over onto Stixxay and Huhi both. A double kill, and it's M&S getting paid.
Oh, M&S drops minions in mid lane, but it does not matter. He gets the double kill on bot. River knows bottom side has already been overloaded, so he's looking at Fudge.
Fudge trying to get away here. River goes forward with Twisted Advance. Nice job by Fudge, just pushing him back into the turret. Golden Guardians will not get anything in return except for the flash of the Cassante, and it's Cloud9 feeling good with a 1,000 gold lead.
I was so impressed with how Golden Guardians were playing these first few levels. They were getting so many advantages in the bot lane 2v2, and then they overstep, something that we have seen from them this tournament. They overcommit to that play, and the execution falls short, and that was all Cloud9 needed to punish and find themselves 2 kills.
Yeah, one thing they misstepped on there, slightly misplaced the Flame Chompers. Stixxay had the Flame Chompers behind where Huhi had rooted Berserker, so Berserker did not get stopped with those, and he had Purple Gun. So the Purple Gun slow autos there, keeping them a little bit in range, allowing Sven for the chase down on Lulu, Glitter Lances to really soften them. Yeah, we'll get another look here. So Huhi gets him, he roots him in, but the Flame Chompers are behind Berserker, so he gets to walk forward with Purple Gun, gets the roots, get a bunch of extra damage as well, and then Sven going to force the flash out of Stixxay. So once M&S gets here, it's served up on a platter.
Yep.
Oh my goodness, he's salivating in that brush, seeing these low health members walk away from their tower, flashes to make sure he can get both kills. Nautilus first, even with the hook, and then boom, hit him with the Q.
Nicely placed from M&S. 700 gold into his pocket, and the bot lane faltering in the early game for Golden Guardians means that M&S puts himself in a great position, which M&S did have a challenging best of 5 to start off the bracket stage to set him up for success in the early game, especially on a champion that can be bullied by the Jace. Definitely a great start for C9.
Yeah, and especially with the ring start there. 4 stacks on the Dark Seal is absolutely massive for a Sylas, as Blabber is just chasing River down.
Yeah, River forced to flash away there in the 1v1 of the River. Blabber went in knowing he had the advantage, and the fact that M&S was in battle there in the mid lane meant that there was no help coming in for River from his own mid laner in Gory. Nicely done there, getting a free flash from the enemy jungle.
Yeah, having M&S have such a massive lead in mid lane here with the extra 2 kills is really going to change the face of the game here and how Golden Guardians can actually play around it. This Maokai is very squishy. He went over, he's going with the red smite plus the first strike build here. So definitely going to have to worry quite a lot about those rotations. Cloud9 will use that mid lane and bottom lane pressure to have an uncontested first pickup of the Hex Drake.
What I'll say is this mid lane matchup, while Gory is getting a lot of great trades onto M&S, M&S is just finding better windows to move. Even in that little skirmish in the river, the main reason why River had to flash was because M&S forced his way into that river so that he could actually fight the 2 versus 2, and seeing that Gory couldn't assist meant that there was no way that they could turn that around, especially with the health disadvantage the River found himself. So huge props to M&S really getting involved in the map, and now that C9 kind of have firm control over this bot lane 2 versus 2, Golden Guardians, in terms of getting early leads, need to start funneling resources into the top side of the map.
And honestly, I would say for Cloud9, keep focusing on bottom side.
Oh, yeah.
Have Blabber clear from top down towards bottom side of the map and keep that pressure up.
That pressure has led to a 900 gold lead. Not much more than what it was earlier already, so things haven't gone any worse than they were earlier for the Golden Guardians, and that's kind of where they need to be. Make sure you don't bleed out from some of these early mistakes. Get yourselves to the point where you can do some of that team fighting that we've seen them excel at, that we've seen them shine with, that got them to the point where they're here competing at MSI in the first place. You mentioned it earlier, Vedius. The draft is going to demand a lot of team cohesion later on in this game from Golden Guardians, and they got to be in a spot where they're able to play that.
All right, Blabber's got his level 6. So Sejuani turns Sylas into a very, very, very effective skirmisher here with Sejuani ult plus the quick way that you can stack up the passive stun as well, and a stolen Nautilus ultimate as well. There's massive amounts of crowd control there in that duo, but they're actually going to rotate it towards bottom like we talked about for Cloud9, whereas Golden Guardians will just pick up the Rift Herald in exchange for a pretty big sacrifice here. Let's see if Stixxay has the confidence to even get in there. He's trying to at least hover for experience range.
Right, but it's so difficult to approach much further, especially with Blabber coming down here over the wall, just farming up the Krugs. River on the other end of the map will finally secure that Rift Herald, heads back to base with it. Golden Guardian's gonna walk up, see the enemy jungler there, stealing away those Krugs. They go in after him, but Blabber should just be able to disengage over the wall if he wants to. He's wasting a little bit more of their time. Decides to use the Arctic Assault, retreats back over the way he came. Sven and Berserker not close enough to turn that into a 3v2 immediately, but MNS is pathing down towards this tier 1 turret yet again. Berserker and Sven lasting a little bit longer, just not enough damage to get that third plate.
Still raw, Cloud9 punishing the big mistake that we saw from Golden Guardians in the early laning phase. The fact that level 1, 2, 3, Huhi was consistently landing hooks, it gave them priority and ability to actually gain control in this bot lane 2 versus 2. The second that they lost those summoner spells, this bot lane became a very easy way for C9 to gain advantages in early game. This is what we've been seeing every single moment of MNS's time. Clear a wave, move into bot river. Clear a wave, move into bot river. Clear a wave. And it doesn't even matter whether he's actually looking for a roam or not. It's just by moving into the fog of war, he creates this threat that Golden Guardians always has to respect.
And from the Golden Guardian side, I actually think they got away with a steal getting that Rift Herald for themselves. Because Cloud9 even has much threat.
Oh, MNS! He's just immediately shut down. What in the hell was he doing? Gory just walks in, takes him out of the 1v1. It will be brought back there by Blabber, but a breakdown in communication on Cloud9 lines makes it a 1-for-1, but we ain't done yet. Fudge now could be in some trouble as Huhi goes in and drops the ulti down onto Sven. Here comes the Maokai ult from behind. It's gonna be blocked up by Blabber, and he's the one soaking the damage now. Sejuani's tanky, but it's him for dinner, and Stixay's eating good. Golden Guardians end up coming out on top in the play.
This is huge for Golden Guardians. That was a shutdown already with the early 2 kills onto MNS. He drops a bunch of the stacks off of his Dark Seal, and they get the extra kill after their rotation from bottom lane coming up here. Even though Cloud9 had a massive early game, Golden Guardians fighting right back.
It feels like coordination, exactly as you guys were saying, was just off there for Cloud9. The idea, I guess, was MNS, oh, Blabber's here, we can just fight this 2 versus 2, but Blabber either was too far away, we'll get to look when we get the replay up, but they were not in sync. It just made it very easy for Gory to get that isolated 1v1. With the early damage, it was more than enough. And let's have a look here. So the back is coming through. A bit of a skirmish. So I think initially Blabber was like, oh, you actually want to fight this? And it just felt like that the communication there was clearly off between the mid-jungle.
I mean, also MNS had flash, so doesn't try and like flash away from the Jace. In the end, they do get the 1-for-1, but Golden Guardians get an extra kill here with the rotation of bottom lane up. You have a Nautilus ult into a Maokai ult. So River comes to sacrifice, or Blabber comes to sacrifice himself for his support here, but it's still going to be a kill nonetheless over to Stixay, and that's right onto the Jinx.
Whenever you have to run away in a single direction from that Maokai ult, remember those buffs to the ult that made it so much faster, that brought him back into the meta, makes it so difficult for everybody to get away. They thought Blabber would have the best chance of sticking around and surviving it, but even he is not tanky enough just yet. It is still a Cloud9 gold advantage. They also still have the 1 Drake compared to none of Golden Guardians so far. That second Drake of the game is available now. Blabber goes in, Gory with a nice sidestep to get away from that Glacial Prison, but he won't get away from the kill, and it's Blabber getting the money.
And there you see the difference of MNS did save his flash and went down in the early skirmish, whereas Gory did use it to try and get away from Blabber in the counter. And so in the end, it does come full circle, and they get him back and get the extra one.
Yeah, coordination definitely much more on point there with the C9 mid jungle. They still hold onto the gold lead for now, but you can feel like that the game is, its momentum has suddenly shifted. C9 had a very clear control over the early game with how they were playing through their bot side of the map, funneling plates onto Berserker, and by sacrificing the Herald, they were still getting gold where they needed it to. But after that skirmish, the fact that Stixay secured himself a kill, the fact that he's getting another plate in top side, Golden Guardians are picking up a lot of gold onto their carry, and Stixay even has more gold than Berserker now, even after all of the early shenanigans.
Second Drake of the game over to Cloud9, and we will get ourselves a Mountain Rift, Mountain Soul possibility they can keep stacking towards. Cloud9 will be happy to see that one come up. Still with that 1,000 gold lead. Just about 1 minute left until the plates fall, so not a lot of time to pick up any extra economic advantages from those. Gory's going to try to shove this wave up. M&S, slight health advantage, but not a lot of mana to work with.
Yeah, I think Cloud9 are still very confident here. They continue to have a very quick dragon stack. They still have their gold lead for themselves. And critically, they have a pretty strong 5-on-5 setup. If they just get Berserker with the rest of the team behind the 3 frontliners there, they should have a nice advantage. Licorice on the Fiora did just get to Divine Sunderer though, so now you at least get to start having some fun as the Fiora and start really scaling.
Mythic items up and running on both those top laners. 80 carries and mids as well with them complete. Obviously supports not quite at that point. Demonic Embrace finished for Rivers Maokai, so the extra poke, the extra control over the brushes that he's able to establish those in could mean a lot as we continue going forward in the game. 14 minutes just now, hitting that clock means we're firmly out of the early game, ready to go. I'm expecting larger fights now, expecting to see more rotations coming around. Licorice and Fudge in the bottom half of the map while everyone else playing topside. Gory trying to keep this tier 1 turret alive in mid lane.
Yeah, interesting lane allocations too from Golden Guardians where they keep Stixay on the Jinx up on top side, soak up those minions and had Gory still standing in mid with the jungle support roam coming through to get their vision.
Right now, Berserker holding on to this mid push means that they will have a way into the river, but Golden Guardians have forced their way in, cleared out this vision, started the Herald off.
Blabber face checking the pixel brush. Sejuani's not going to take a lot of damage just thanks to the passive. Very easy to ignore a lot of that upfront burst. But Cloud9 still have not made their way into the river. Golden Guardians with control over the pit, control over the Herald, taking that one out. 1v1 here in the bottom lane. Fudge goes in. Licorice in a lot of trouble. He issues the grand challenge. But how does it go from here? Fudge still moving forward, thinking about fighting this longer. Licorice with another lunge away, disengages the fight, doesn't want anything more to do with the all-out Cassante.
So Golden Guardians walk away with the Herald as Fudge found a pretty good opportunity in bot lane, but after committing the flash, Licorice said, you know what, the health disparity is too big, I don't want to take that gamble, I'm just going to disengage for now. A lot of farm will be lost, but in the grand scheme of things, Licorice continues to scale up in the sideline.
Yeah, and Golden Guardians get their turret on the top side for Stixay. He dropped a few minions because M&S pushed it into the tower while they went for the Rift Herald, but they exchanged that top tower for their mid tower here. And that's the difference in 80 carry lane allocation. Blabber hovering behind Berserker to ensure that he can collect.
Cloud9 getting one back in mid, making that turret count even once more at 1-1. Gold is only 100 apart, just 16 minutes into the game. Both teams have had a couple of mistakes. Both teams have had a couple of good plays here as well. So Cloud9 and Golden Guardians seemingly very evenly matched here in this first game. What do you guys want to see happen next, particularly from the viewpoint of the Golden Guardians, since they have the more complex composition for win conditions as the game goes forward?
Yeah, so this is the tricky part now for Golden Guardians because they have to navigate the upcoming Dragon in a minute and a half, right? With C9 getting that early investment, they're more than happy to have Golden Guardians come and fight them. The question is, how do you then incorporate this Fiora into these fights? Do you look for a flank, maybe threaten the back line? Do you instead try and keep Fudge isolated so that you have a 4v4 and Fudge can't really get into the fights? Like, leveraging this Fiora pick is going to be the hardest part of Golden Guardians navigating these mid-game fights.
Yeah, I think they could just keep him splitting over there. Maokai ult though.
M&S goes in after Gory, but Rivers coming down to defend him as well. Gory can disengage back underneath the tier 1 turret. Both mid laners going to walk away sub half HP. Cloud9 sending multiple men to reinforce this situation while it's still just Gory and River defending now in a 2v4. Blabber comes over the wall. Glacial Prison again, sidestepped by Gory, doing a good job recognizing these ultis. Does still have to flash away to avoid the follow-up from the Moonlight Vigil as well as Blabber's W. And that means that Golden Guardians get their guys out, but they are going to lose the tier 1 in the bottom lane. Stixay and Huhi, not enough damage to get one back in mid.
I think Golden Guardians commit to your split push, keep that Fiora up in the side lane. There's no teleport, but they're going to get attacked in mid.
Stixay getting caught out by the stolen Nautilus ultimate as he has to flash away, and Blabber stays on top of him, and Berserker cashes in. He's going to be caught out in the middle of 3, and he makes it a double back over to Berserker. Cloud9 get exactly what they came for.
The collapse from Cloud9 is clean. M&S and Blabber working together once again to find the shutdown onto Stixay and gain control over mid. Looks like they're not going to convert this into the Dragon. They want to get that reset off, but knowing them, they'll come back out onto the map, catch that side wave, and immediately start that objective.
Yep, they've got time to reset. C9, they push out bottom side, they push Gory all the way to the second tower, get his flash, then MNS starts it out as the rest of the C9 team roam up through the river. Beautiful start here from MNS onto Stixxay. By the time Blabber gets there, he has nothing left. And so Berserkers right in on top of him. They wipe Golden Guardians out of that mid lane.
It's just an overstep from the bot lane of Golden Guardians. In mid, they try to go for a skirmish. Licorice is dead.
There, yeah, Cloud9 are roaming around the map, killing every Golden Guardian member they see while they get the objectives. It's Golden Guardians not really respecting the early pushes Cloud9 are get. First of all, Cloud9, get priority on bottom side, rotate mid.
Yeah.
Then rotate up to the top side too, collect the split pusher as well. Now not only are they on soul point, but they're gonna get another pick.
Gory being caught out by Blabber and Berserker. Berserker with the crescendum having plenty of damage here with Blabber leading the way. He's 3-0-1 on this Aphelios now, and C9 is loving this game state. They're on soul point 19 minutes in.
And this is very reminiscent of the finals where we saw Golden Guardians, after they lose a fight, they then start to misalign on where they should be on the map, and Cloud9 are just so quick to catch you out of position, pick after pick after pick. They're snowballing this game out of control.
And Golden Guardians, as a team, they win fast or they lose fast. This is not a team that digs in and holds on if they fall behind. They play really fast, they play really risky, and so when they start to slide, they slide hard.
Yeah, this is so much more what it looks like regionally. I know on the international stage, so many people are starting to get hope for Golden Guardians with how well they've been playing, how much heart they've been playing with. But regionally, Cloud9 really had a headlock on the entire region there, and they're showing it again here. This is why people were also surprised at some of the errors Cloud9 were making in their first series of MSI. But they certainly look like they feel so much more comfortable in this matchup here versus Golden Guardians, who they know.
And right now, they know they are in control of this game. Baron has spawned, and just 8 seconds thereafter, Cloud9 starting it up. They dare Golden Guardians to come answer them. This is the power of that comp, the ability to make your opponents come to you because you're the better team fighters, because you're ahead. Baron's at half HP. MNS has stolen away the Maokai ultimate. River using the original Nature's Grasp, fires that one off, doesn't get a whole lot of value. MNS using the stolen one, and that one's gonna take down the enemy jungler. River's in the middle of 4, his body hits the floor. Double kill back over to Berserker as Cloud9 ain't done yet. MNS stays on the front line, and now the rest of the team falls back to finish what they started. They never even dropped the Baron aggro. It's already down to 2,000. River's dead in the dirt, and Cloud9 has the Baron.
Now that is a clean Baron. They avoid the Golden Guardians engage with the Maokai ult, steal it, use it against them to annihilate the possibility of a steal. River goes down first. Cloud9 completely push them off. And they are just dominating game number 1. Here's another look at it.
Flowers, you highlighted MNS in the fight, and look at how impactful this Maokai ultimate is. From this angle, completely splits up Golden Guardians. River is left isolated. The Fiora really can't get involved in the fight. The Jinx locked off on the side as MNS throws out the stopwatch to buy time. The durability provided with the Lulu as well. C9 fighting on 2 fronts while also aggroing the Barrow. The Baron very cleanly executed from C9.
And guess what? Berserker's got 5 kills now. This Aphelios is super fed. He's getting towers with the Baron buff as well. Now it's just a landslide of the last couple minutes.
We'll see how far they can build this lead with the Baron now. They've still got it for 2 more minutes. Golden Guardians recognizing they are in full panic mode now, and it's Licorice who's got to panic first. He's dead before I can even finish the sentence, and it's Fudge issuing the death warrant as Gory has to retreat back. But there's going to be no such salvation for River as Berserker is dominating. Stixxay falls next. He goes with them, and the Golden Guardians burn to dust. Cloud9 is looking to make game one end swiftly.
It's an absolute stomp in the top lane. Zero hesitation from Cloud9. They demonstrate their domestic dominance once more and look to end this game sub 25 minutes.
5 men marching onto the Nexus turrets and only a Jace to stop them. Huhi and Licorice are going to be back in about 5 seconds, but C9 is not stopping yet. They've still got the wave. They still got plenty of resources. Gory tries to fire off a shock blast, but he doesn't get enough value. Golden Guardian's coming back to life, but the Nexus is the only health bar that matters, and it just went pop. C9 takes game one.
It's back to business for Cloud9.
An absolute stomp from Cloud9.